What's up guys, welcome back to another video. By the end of today's video, I'm gonna have you knowing every single tool inside Videoleap, so stay with me to the end if you wanna know how to edit like a pro. If you're new to this channel, what's up guys, how's it going? If you're a returning subscriber, then what's up fam? How's it going? If you notice, I said fam for the people who are subscribed. That's because when you subscribe to my channel, you become fam. So if you'd like to become fam, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. What are you doing? It's right there. Just hit it for me. And then we can get this video started. Today, like I said before, I'm going to teach you basically everything in Videoleap from the beginning to the end. This is kind of like a beginner's guide, so if you are already used to like most of the tools in there, then you don't need to watch this video. But who knows, maybe there's some things in here that you don't know. I know that a lot of my, one of my biggest videos for Videoleap is the zoom in video, so I will be going in over all that and how the keyframes work. So if you struggle with like the keyframes or zoom in or anything like that, I'm going to show you all those things today. And it looks like my camera's gonna die, so hopefully before then. So let's get started guys. Let's open up Videoleap here. All right, so when you open up Videoleap, you're gonna get a screen that looks like this. It's gonna be blank. The first thing you can do is you can pick your canvas here if you'd like, but obviously the most important thing is getting in your content. So you're gonna see this big plus sign right here. You're gonna hit that, and I'm just gonna put in a couple of videos that I shot for a vlog, and we're gonna kind of just use these and piece them together, edit them, cut them, do whatever we need to make this a vlog. So as you see, I have a few clips here. I put them all in. You can do them one at a time if you want to, just like that. But I went through and just clicked all the ones I want. When you click on each video, they will drop in the order that you clicked them in, so just keep that in mind. First thing would be to import your media. So we have our video clip here, and if you want it to stay in this format here, you're more than welcome to. That's 16:9. That's your standard like YouTube, TV format. You can make it even shorter if you want to. Make it a square for Instagram. And as you can see, when I press these things, it's not really changing the shape of my video. So it's just kind of like forming around it. If you want to fit it, so say we're doing a square format here. If you want to fit it in square format without those big black bars, you'll just grab on the picture here and just like a pinch zoom, and you'll zoom it into where you want it, and it'll stay how you want it. So do that, and now it's in square. Say if for some reason I was moving and like I ended up over here, you can always use the keyframes down here at the bottom to move that. So basically would start it here, and if you wanted your video to end, but I'm gonna be more over here, then you'll put it where you want it to end, and the keyframe will pop up there at the bottom, as you can see. And so look, here we go. It's moving, and it's slightly sliding over the video as well because the keyframe told it to. That's where I set it, and that's where it's gonna end up. So instead of ending where it would be, let's remove the keyframe again. Here, let's just remove that, and remove this one, and just set it to where I was in the center here. When I play this video, it's going to have me not in the center because I don't have the keyframes anymore. So that's one thing the keyframes are good for, is having your video start and end exactly where you want it as far as like formatting the screen. All right, so that was if it was in square format. I usually work in this for vlogs and YouTube and stuff. And like I said, you can always like zoom it into where you want, crop it in. If you zoomed it, if you had way too much, you just want to show this, my sweet buns, you can totally do that too. If you don't use the keyframes to make it end and stop where you want, then it will just stay zoomed in like that. So another example real quick would be like if you're doing for Instagram Reels or something like that. You most likely want to shoot with your camera sideways, or if you're using a phone, obviously vertical. But if you didn't and your picture was like this, you can always just zoom in to get the exact frame format you want. And like I said, if I end up over here, we'll just start here with the keyframes real quick, and then I'll end so that I'm like in frame. So we'll watch that again somewhere from the middle, so we don't have to watch it all over. I'm walking, and then instead of it's showing me instead of ending where it's not showing me, there it goes, it shows me. But anyways, let's remove these and let's get back to regular 16:9. Zoomed in, and boom, there we go. So that's how we fixed that. All right, so that is how to import media and also crop to whatever format you're trying to get it to. So next would be your mixer tool here, and the mixer tool is really cool. If you already have it in your timeline, you can just grab and put whatever you want over to overlay on that video, or if you want, you can press mixer and put in another video like this one, zoom it to where you want, and then you'll go over to, here's your options with that. You can animate that. The cool way is like animating it in. You can see all your options here and you can play with that. It's a lot of fun. Here, we'll put it like this. So say you want to slide over, it'll slide down slow. This will slide down fast. You could also use the keyframes to animate things as well and get creative with it, but that's a little bit more advanced. So this is cool that it gives you, you know, an in option, an overall option, and an out option as well. So a cool thing with like overlaying is if you were trying to make something like, you know, make it seem like you were in a dream, or you're trying to show multiple things at once, say like a montage of some sort. If you press blend here, you have multiple blending options. But a cool thing is just keeping it normal and kind of slightly lowering the opacity so that both of them are playing over each other. And that'd be a cool way to like show like dream states, or just like, you know, multiple things at once, or like if you're editing for like a DJ or something like that. That's kind of a cool little effect you can add over it. But with the mixer effect is really cool for shoot all the way up and then putting like a logo. I'll use like my SAS one here, and then you'll go to the blending, which is down here. And you can press screen, boom, and look, it has a little, like say your logo for an intro or something would pop up. Here, let's even do it so I can show you, like, it's not in first, but it'll, let's just, like, show the animations here. So if say you want it to fade in, you can fade it in, you can slide it in, you can flicker it in, but let's just do a standard little fade here. And then we want it to, we'll have it fade in, and then we'll have it, let's see, where's the animation? And then we'll have it like blink out or something like that, or spin away. That's something cool too. So there's that as well. So here we go. You guys ready? Press play, fades in. You probably have some cool music. That'd be like your logo or whatever you created to go overlay, and then it'll spin away. And you can have that depending on how fast you want it. If you press animate again and out, you can make it go really slow, or you can make it go super fast. There you go, just like that. So that is a really cool way to use the mixer tool to add in like logos or you know, things like that. It's also really cool if you're trying to like clone yourself as well. You would put you know, I'm not going to show it in this one because I have a clone video you can go watch, but if you clicked on the clip and you went to mask, and this was like something like that, it only shows like half of it. Here you see it masks out, and mask creates where it only shows what you want to show of that like thing, whether it's another video or a logo like this. And there's different options on that, which you can like change the size and stuff like that. Another cool way is you can animate the masks too. I can show you if you want to start something cool. So let's get rid of this animation, there's none, and then go back to the mask. And this is a little bit more advanced, this thing right here that I'm teaching you. So if you can't get it right away, don't worry, just keep practicing it and you might, you know, be able to figure it out. But have the mask start really small like that. You would press mask, and make sure you're in mask, keyframe it, and then you want it to be all the way out by the end of the clip. So we'll put it here, and then check it out. Kind of slowly brings in, you can use whatever shape you want to, and that's another cool way to reveal your logo or your new you know, scene that you're trying to reveal as well. You can have that as a transition as well to show your next scene. So that's something you can do. You can get creative with that, spend a lot of time. The more you play in this app, the better you will get at it, which is really cool as well. So just keep that in mind. So the next thing here is going to be text classic. You can you know, do a lot of the same things in here too. There's masking options. You can change the color. You can animate that in and out as well. Play with the animations. You know, they're really cool. Same thing, fade in, slide in, spin in. You can have it do something overall where it's just jiggling the whole time until you have it off screen. Another thing you can do is tracking, which I have yet to really play with in here, so I'm not going to show that right now. I'll make a separate video on that once I, you know, really dive deep into that. So let's quickly show you how to add a basic text since this is a beginning video. Just press a text here. You can edit it here and put in, you know, like Bert G. And then you go here, you can pick whatever font you want. There's so many different styles, which is really nice. This is one of my favorite fonts here, especially in all caps. But, you know, obviously it's not in all caps. But a cool thing with the not the animations, the effects though, is you can, you know, put it on fire, There's other cool things, and you can also change the color of that too. It doesn't have to stay the color that this is as well. But so that's something cool to mess with. I think that that's really fun and cool that they give you that option. You can change the color here to any color you want, and then the opacity obviously is really nice. You can make it so it's like if you have it over the whole screen like this. And that's another thing. If you want to resize things, pretty much anything, you want to make sure you're clicked on the clip down below, and then you can zoom it into it however you want. And then once again, the keyframes will like move that. So say it was right here, this big. If you keyframe this, and then you put another one here, or you just move it because like that's where you want it, that's what that keyframe will do. So look, now it's gonna show. And then I kind of made the opacity 50% so you can kind of see through it, which is really cool. You can get creative with that. So that's just another thing you can do with the keyframes and the text. Blending, I have it at 69 actually, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want. And then there's also mask option. Your stroke is just gonna have like an outline around it, which you can make thicker or not. You can change the color of that as well. And then blending options, which is the same thing as as before. Play with the blending options because they do different things depending on what you're using, whether it's an overlay or another video or text or something like that. And then there's also shadow as well, which is nice. It creates a shadow behind. It's not just a stroke. So if we remove the stroke to nothing and play with the shadow underneath, you can see this is the opacity of like how much you could see it. You can make it more of like actual like just right behind it like that, which looks cool. Or you can make it more of like a shadow look. You can change the color of that as well, which is really cool. And then there's also the transform mode, which doesn't really do a lot. It kind of just flips it, which is kind of cool if you were trying to do, like a bee facing another bee. You just obviously do two different texts and make the other bee flip so that they can be facing each other. And then you can add a background as well, which is really cool. So let's see, there's different kinds of backgrounds. There's like that kind of line there, and it's only on half, so you can make it like this. So this is really good for like titles, things like that. And you can play with that as well. There's different shapes. There's just that right there. You can just have it there. And that just kind of makes things look nice. You can change the size of it. You can change the, the softness of it as well. And then you can also change the color of that. So you can kind of make it look like it's glowing, which is really cool as well. I actually have a video about how to make glowing text, and it's far harder than this. I kind of just discovered this now that you can make it look glowing with this, so that's pretty cool. All right, so I believe that's pretty much all you can do. Oh yeah, this is another thing too. This here, if there was a stack, it would obviously space it apart that way too, but this is one way to show how the spacing works. We can just add another layer real quick, just to show you the spacing the other way as well. So yeah, it will space that way as well. So that's really cool, really easy. A lot of tools, a lot of options you can use with text. And if we move on, there's stickers. I don't really use the stickers or the video or any of these at all, but you totally can. They're really cool. There's a lot of them there, and you can just keep going and keep finding them. You can even search them up at the top, but I'll save that for another video, and also you can explore that on your own. The next thing would be is audio. If you pay for Videoleap, you have your music here with all the stock videos. With all the stock, what's it called? Music here. So if you want like lo-fi music, you type in lo-fi, and a bunch of lo-fi options will come up, and it's the same kind of music that's on Storyblocks. I have had trouble with some of the songs, not all of them, if you pay for this. But if you dispute it with your license, they usually just clear it within a couple days. But yeah, all your music's gonna be under here. You can get anything. There's rock, there's EDM, there's all kinds of stuff. Also, if you press music to the left here is artist, is your music that you have in your phone, which you can use. If it's music that you won't get in trouble for, then feel free to use it over your videos, or if you're just doing it for fun for Instagram, you can definitely add in, whatever's on your phone. The stock's really cool. Like I said, it has a bunch. But then also, if you go back and you click on, audio again, there's gonna be sound effects as well. And the Storyblocks ones are if they come with your subscription. If you pay for this subscription, there's so many cool things. There's like your classic like door shutting sounds, people yelling, footsteps, but there's also like cinematic sounds too, like impacts, where if you want to, like, a lot of times when I switch scenes, I'll slide the scene over and I will use a sound kind of like this. That really helps, like, you know, keep it interesting. It has like moving parts and, you know, different sounds that makes it so that the viewer doesn't get bored when they're watching your videos. And that's all in here. You can just, I always type in just swoosh. And it'll pull up a bunch of different kinds. Obviously, there's like slower ones, just like that. Or there's your fast one like that, or like the one I use. Yeah. So yeah, there's tons of different sound effects, and I definitely recommend that you go through and, you know, check them all out. Sound effects really help kind of make your movie come to life, really, because, you know, when they punch somebody, they don't just use the sound that they actually, you know, made when they punch somebody. It's like a overly done, like, you know, something like that. So definitely explore the sounds and see what you can find when you think you need them, you know, and it's cool that they're there. And then lastly, in the audio, there's the voiceover, which is if you don't have a setup like this where you can do a voiceover while watching your thing, you can just do it in here, just like in TikTok. If you're used to TikTok or anything, you just press voiceover, you have a little record button there, you press record, and then it'll start recording. And then the cool thing about it is you can record whatever audio you want, such as, you know, what I'm doing here. But say you paused, oh, and then you want to keep going, but you don't want to start over, you can just press stop, and then you can actually see in here where it's at. You use this little button here, which is your main cut button. They didn't used to have that there. You have to go all the way and find the cut every single time, but it's right there because it's the most used thing, pretty much. So you just cut it. You find out where, you know, you can usually see where the audio started and stopped, and you just kind of move it there. Oh, and then you want to keep. And then pause. Cut it down there, and then you could even just bring it closer, and that's kind of how you make a cut. Say you pause, oh, and then you want to keep going, and now you can't even hear. Let me just pause this, or mute this, you know, what I'm doing here. But say you paused, oh, and then you want to keep going, but you don't want to. Yeah, see, now you can tell there wasn't even a pause there because I cut it, and that's how you can do like the little voiceover effect and, you know, kind of add something. For sometimes your audio, as you can tell, like in this video, my audio is really loud, so if I was talking in this video, I'd probably just end up, you know, using the like a voiceover audio instead, because you can hear it better. So I would basically mute that video and then record over it saying things like, okay, so guys, this is where we purchased our wood, this is what we needed, and this is how much we got, kind of thing. So that's with that. Another cool thing about audio is, I want to say, is that say you just need the audio from something for some reason. Say you already recorded it like this kind of, and you didn't use a mic like this, whatever, you use the in-house or whatever, the mic on the phone, recording yourself like that, and you just wanted the audio of it instead of just the video. A cool thing is clicking on this and then clicking the audio, and in here your options are your volume, which goes all the way to 500, just in case your sound wasn't that loud. You can kind of raise it up, which is really cool. You can mute it if you want to do a voiceover, like I was saying. You can equalize it, which is, you can go through if you'd like. I don't really ever use those because they don't really do a lot, and they kind of make the audio sound shitty. Or you can unlink it, like I was going to say here. And then when you unlink it, you can keep the audio without the video. And obviously we don't want this audio because it's just noise. But as you can see, it's still there, which is really cool. So we'll just put that back together. And that's when you actually click the clip. And then while we're talking about that, it's a really good time to show that you can pick filters. In here, when you click the clip, you can change the opacity on its own. Say if you wanted to start, like, you know, fade in, you can have it, we'll start here. That's where you want it to be full opacity. You bring the opacity down here, and then it'll kind of, you know, fade in to the screen, which is really cool. The keyframes are used for a lot of things, guys, just remember that, especially zooming. So I'll mention that now since we're here. If you're trying to zoom in on something and you wanted to end it like here, but, you know, zoomed in, that's when you use the keyframe. You want it to start here, and say here, you want it to end for some reason there, you know, then the keyframes will do so. Just like that. So yeah, that is how you use the keyframes to zoom and to like bring opacity in. You can adjust your clip here. If you're clicking on the clip, they'll have the, you know, you can always mess with the exposure. You can mess with the contrast. Just normal editing things. They're not the best tools in here to edit, but they do work, and you can just experiment with them and find which, you know, settings works best for you. Let's see here. If you're still clicked on the clip, you can transform it, it says, and that's like mirroring it, flipping it, rotating it, however you want. And then, you know, you can fit to screen here or fill which as you can see, like it just brings it back to its normal. Say you're zoomed in here and you just want it to be right, you click here and it's perfectly sized. There's no spaces in between, because sometimes when you're trying to get it right, you kind of leave a space. You can see there's spaces on the side, but if you just press fit, it brings it right back to normal, which is really nice. And then you can also speed it up, which is cool, or you can slow it down. And if you're filming with your phone, one thing to remember when doing slow motion is shoot in 60 frames per second, because it'll make the slowdown a lot more buttery. Most of the time it's already shooting in that, but if it's not, if you changed it, change it back if you want that slow motion. It just records more frames, and that's why you can slow it down and have a more smooth instead of like a jumpy slow motion. You can also reverse the clip, which always takes a second, but it's never that long. It's just, you know, literally like 5 seconds or so. And now it's in reverse. But we'll put it back. You can also freeze it. Freeze is really cool. Say if you wanted this to like say something, you'd be walking and then you want it to freeze on a certain part, it'll stop, and then you can make that as long as you want to have that moment to say, now this is where things went wrong or whatever. You know, you can add it, you can be creative with it, but they give you that option to do a freeze frame, which is really cool. And then you also have you can replace, which is nice if you wanted, like say you were working with a certain, you know, a clip amount, like 10 seconds or whatever. If you had it like, we'll say 4 seconds here. If you had it clicked and you press replace, sorry, I'm pretty quick here when I move around. Get what you want to replace it with. We'll just pick this clip, and it kind of just starts from the beginning. It doesn't really find a random spot for you, so you kind of have to move around. Or if you already had that clip like edited, that'd be nice to replace it with. But yeah, you press replace and it'll replace it with the first 10 seconds or 4 seconds of that clip. It's really nice for when you have already like edited and you're like doing one in the middle here and you don't want to like move around because you've cut your video to the song already. That's just nice to just replace it with another video. Yeah, so another thing you can do too is if you wanted this to be like an overlay instead of just, you know, holding it and putting it up, which you can do as well. See, it jumped over there. You'll press the mixer and it just jumps right above the clip and slides one over. Or say it was this clip or whatever, you just press mixer and then boom, it's right above that one. So that's something you can do instead of like trying to manually move it by hand. And then looks like lastly is duplicate, so you can have multiple if you need to, or delete, which is one way to delete, or you can hold it and drag it to the trash can here. Okay, so moving on, we've already touched on audio, and when I showed you, when you clipped on the clip, there's filters here. Another thing you can do is if there are multiple clips, you don't want to go in here and press filter and press this one and adjust it to 54 and then come back in here and do it again. You'll want to just do them all at once. So say you're done editing your video, you got a nice 5 minutes, there's a bunch of different clips, and you don't want to like go through each clip and put a filter over it with the same adjustment. You'll go over to filter, and it'll put a little bar up here, and it's kind of like your adjustment layer. It's kind of like an invisible glass you put over your video where you can like change the colors, add filters to it, and you'll just stretch it over the whole, you know, video like this to where you want it. And then you'll pick your filter, your preset here, and let's just do like a dramatic one like black and white, and then it'll be over the whole video, and you can obviously adjust that. And like I said, that'll be over your whole video, which is really nice. You can also, well, within that, you can change the intensity. You can animate that so that it like fades in or whatever. Same thing with all the animations. And then you can duplicate it too if you just wanted to do more of them and kind of slightly adjust them. That's one way to get your filter over after you're done. You can also do an adjustment layer, which is just like your you know, exposure and all that per video, but this is the way you're doing it to every single video. The whole bar is what's going to change. So if I change the exposure, it's going to do it to pretty much everything. And that's if you just need to make slight adjustments to every single video and you don't want to go through and doing every single one, which can be time consuming. There's also effects as well, which is going to be another type of like bar that appears on top. You'll go into your effects, and there's a lot of cool effects in here that you can play around with. There's flares you can add motion to them, and you can also use keyframes to make them move as well, which is cool. So let's zoom in here. Say I want to start my thing here, and then I want it to end down here. And let's cut it out and make it just there. All right, let's also remove this black and white filter. All right, so if I press play, now my flare is going to move and make it look like, I mean, obviously this is just a dramatic thing to show you here, but it'll look like the sun's kind of in there. And you can mess with that. There's tons of different ones in here, lens flares that you can choose from. It doesn't have to just be that one. And let's check out the other effects. There's defocus, prism, kaleidoscope, and there's just a bunch of cool little things. And those are just like effects you can see, like show, you know, vintage. You can add your little vignetting, pick what size you want. But my favorite thing out of all these would be the glitches. I really like those a lot. I tend to use this one a lot, and you can like bring it in as you want and change. So say you're talking and there's a glitch effect, looks like it's glitching out there. You can make it as short as long as you want. You can also change sides. You can do the top, you can do the bottom, or you can do all of them if you wanted to. It's totally up to you, and make it like that. If you're trying to make something trippy or cool, you know, you can always do stuff like that. And there's plenty of different glitches too. There's that one, there's the red, blue, green, which is cool. You can make it vibrate. So when it's moving, you know, it does stuff like this. Here, let's remove that. Since there's that sound in the back, you know, that'd be kind of cool to add that to it or whatever. And that's just something that you're gonna have to play around with as well, because all that comes down to is, you know, style, editing style. So you'll want to go in glitches and just pick a part where you're trying to glitch, and you'll just add one and see if that works out, if that's the one you're looking for. There's not a lot of cool ones, but I will say there are cool glitch transitions, which we have not gotten into. So that's the last thing that I'll speak about here. Because it looks like, oh, well, sorry, there's still ToneLab. So ToneLab, I did make a video about, it's called How to Color Grade in Videoleap. That'll show you a lot better how to use the ToneLab, but basically the ToneLab is kind of like your color grading. If you don't know what color grading is, it's basically how you pick a color in the video and you change it to like whatever you want. So I picked on this like orange, it kind of like picked up the yellow here, and I can make that like whatever color I want, you see. But we can also pick the blue, which is like the sky, and change that. As you can see above, it's turning purple. Obviously, the more you do it, the faker it's gonna look, but it's a kind of a cool effect if you wanted to use it to like really like highlight like things like the thing in the background here. I can highlight that and change that color. The orange thing there I can change, but it'll probably change my skin tone because I'm closer to like the orange. Red, orange is kind of like the skin tone color. But you can always, you know, mess with like the yellows, the greens, and the tree over there. You can mess with. So that's something is if you want to get diving deeper, go ahead and check out my other video, how to color grade in Videoleap. That'll show you a little bit more like in depth on how to use that. But basically, it just grabs a color that you choose right here, and you can, you know, focus on that color and change that color in your video. So that's how you use the ToneLab. Lastly, I want to talk about video transitions. If you see here in between the clips, you know, if you're trying to do, you know, you don't want it to just jump to this next one here. If you click on this white thing here in the middle, and the clip's long enough, because sometimes if the clip's too short, these won't be available to use. Not all of them, some of them will. You get these like cross dissolve, there's that, and you can always make it longer, which is really nice. Look at that, nice and slow. There's a fade in you can do, which fades to black and then fades you back here. There's a quick zoom, which is, you know, I always use it in quick, like that. Then there's sliding, which is what I told you before, how I use the little sound effects. We can actually go through that real quick. Just so we can show you. So I'll just pick that one real quick, just to make this, you know, easy. You'll basically move that over by holding down and dragging right over where you see this, and you could even like kind of go slow and see where it's moving, and then even move the sound a little more. But the sound seems to be perfect right there. So we'll back it up, and now see what that looks like. See, just like that. And that made, instead of, you know, because when things move past, they make sound, so it kind of gives the video more feel. So that's one way to, you know, use transitions, but there's tons of them. You just explore those. But the reason why I was telling you this is because the glitch ones, you know, if you use these, you can actually add a little glitch to it as well. You could even make it longer. And then you'll just go into, you know, audio to find, if you want, you don't have to, but to make your videos better, you just go into your sound effects, and then you'll just type in like glitch. And then you'll find the one that works best for you. You know, you go through them all. There's like that there. So that's more like a TV changing sound kind of, or at least that's what they would use. And then here. So it kind of looks like it messed up and went to the next scene, which is really cool. So you can add that over like anything, but these are the glitches I use more. And by, you know, if I just like want a glitch in the middle of this video and it's not like switching to the next scene, I press cut, I press this, and then I go over to the glitches and just pick the one that I think would work and then it kind of glitches, but it's still the same. And then you can add that glitch sound effect to add, you know, glitchiness to it. But like I said, you know, get creative with it. That's how I figured that out, is I would, you know, be like, I'm not sure I like the actual glitch effects that they have here, so what can I do? Went through the transitions and kind of like overlaid them, or did them that way I just showed you, and that kind of spiced up my videos a little bit, you know. And like I said before, the more you use this app, the more you're gonna like become familiar with everything, the faster you're gonna start moving. But just know that the one downfall of this beautiful app is that after 10 minutes of editing, if you have 10 minutes worth of video in there and you're using a lot of effects and overlays, there's a chance you won't be able to open that project after a while, and that really sucks. So really keep that in mind when you're getting towards the 7-minute mark. If your videos, you know, are starting to slow down as you're editing them, maybe just start a new project, and then when you're done, export one of them and just add it to, you know, the one, and then export them together, so there's not a lot of like movement in there. Because once you get past that 10-minute mark and you start doing stuff, I've never ran into this problem besides until recently. Yeah, there's a project that I just can't open up anymore, and I was really upset about it. Had to move it over to Premiere Pro, which is what I need to be using more anyways, but I love Videoleap for its convenience and the fact that it's just right in my hand. I was watching TV, editing at the same time, but my mistake, I was trying to do a longer video, you know, and I got caught up in the downfall of Videoleap, which is that I don't think that it can handle more than about 10 minutes of editing time when it's not just like a, you know, a video where you cut it a few times. Like I was adding effects, overlays, sound effects, you know, a lot of transitions, stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it was just a simple one. All right, guys, my camera just came back on again because it died. I think it's out of recording time, I'm sure. So I'm just gonna edit here. Sorry if the ending was a little bit sloppy, but the retrogrades got my electronics messing up these days. So like I said before in the beginning, please like this video. It really helps me out. If you guys like these types of videos, please consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell. And until next time, guys, see ya.